Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for April 15th through the 21st, 2024. So I want to begin by thanking everyone who is returning to this weekly series and to also welcome anyone who might be new to our Angelic Wisdom community. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you have subscribed, selected the all notification bell, dislike, and also leave your comments. If you're new to the community, and make sure that you just say hello in the comment section, so that we'll just be aware of you. And it's also been very wonderful to hear about some of the people who've been supporting the channel and watching on a weekly basis since the beginning. So some people have cited as early as 2014. So that's also kind of wonderful to hear. And I know sometimes, like, maybe some people leave comments and some people are just not the kind of people who leave comments, but it was wonderful to hear from you, to know that you're still there. If you'd like to get an angel reading with me, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/services. And if you'd like to support my channel with a donation, you can use my PayPal me link for Angelic Wisdom. So you'll find that in the description area below this video. If you haven't seen the general monthly angel reading for April, then that'll be the very first link that you can check out, so that you can watch that. And let's see if there's anything else. I don't think so, but if something occurs, I'm sure it'll come up. So let's take a deep breath. And I know this is sort of will be the beginning of the tax week, the 15th, where people are trying to wrap that up. And we're also, I haven't mentioned it, but we're also in a Mercury retrograde since the 1st of April, and it goes until the 25th of April. And so this is sort of a reminder that it's intimidating, the Mercury retrogrades, and they come up like 3 times a year. And it's, when you're thinking about, oh, I got something to do, and then it just makes you want to go, oh crap, here that comes. And the way that I've just really been thinking about it, it doesn't mean no. It doesn't mean no. It doesn't mean you can't carry on with life as usual. It doesn't mean that you can't dream. It doesn't mean that you can't set new goals. It doesn't mean that you can't start new things. However, what it does mean is, I think most importantly, and I don't know why I'm saying the word respect. So, like all energies, we have to respect them and kind of tune into them. And what I was going to say is that it just means that you have to, during this time, think of it in a respectful way, and that it makes you, or allows you, or heightens your awareness around everything that you're doing, all of your intentions, all of your actions and your choices and your decisions. It's a period where you need to think very deeply about what you are trying to do. And so the energy itself, the retrograde energy, kind of works, it feels like it's working against you. But I would maybe think about it as it's helping you to slow down It's showing you by coming up in these three, I think typically 3 times a year, um, and we have 4 quarters in a year, and it's kind of sort of um, helping us to really make sure that these are the things that matter to us in a sense. So it affects communications and electronics, for example. So it's just a matter of looking over a contract. But the thing about it is, this is something basically we shouldn't be afraid of Mercury retrograde if we're not taking the periods outside of it for granted, right? So we shouldn't form a concept of fear and uh, and project that it's going to create obstacles for us. It might present challenges and it might highlight where we need to be tested or challenged because otherwise we wouldn't be paying attention. So think about it in a way that's very helpful to you, and that when it lands in those particular periods of the year and whatever you're doing, it's supporting you and being as clear in your communication with yourself. It's an opportunity for you to really find alignment and clear understanding with your soul, and to just not be, reacting um, to the stimulations that are around us. A lot of times we're not really going deep enough. Like, if you find that you're having a lot of stuff come up that's kind of like shocking or sort of crises or things like this. And the thing about it is, at the core of everything, of every person and every situation and event, is the universe is always preparing you to embrace more love and more peace and more harmony and oneness, because we're constantly sort of seduced by the our egos and illusion, the three-dimensional um, sort of framework. And so the energies that are coming in, and the whether they are astrological or dispensations from the universe of higher frequencies, all of it is to awaken our remembering of who we are, the remembering of oneness and unity and harmony and peace and joy and love, beauty. So we should always want to be clear in our communications. We should always want to, now we don't want to become like OCD, and where you can't, where you kind of like, you check everything so much that you inhibit yourself from moving, taking action. Everything, as my grandmother used to say, should always be done in moderation, right? Don't ever, if no spiritual tool should become an obsession. No, you can't become obsessed about being protected, because innately you are. It's you and I who just keep forgetting that, right? Um, I just had an amazing experience actually, and it's a typical thing. I'm going to tell it to you because it's sort of like how we react, and I think that's what's really important. We just had the eclipse, the solar eclipse, and then we had the new moon, um, and it's almost like the energies that have come in and the opportunities to sort of reboot, restart. Um, I don't know. It's sort of like there's so much moving through, and what we're all being prepared is to jump shift. So, but we have to let go. I mean, the opportunity to jump shift is always there. These it's particular events don't just they facilitate it, but they're not the only opportunity. You are every day, every second of your life, you are given the opportunity to break free from anything because all you have to do is no longer choose to project the illusions. So I got like a shock on, I don't know which day it is. Today is Friday. I'm recording, so it was 2 days ago, Wednesday, from my landlord about rent, and they were missing the payment, but they found it. Long story short, however, it was I was initially my reaction was, to that, but that is my interpretation. Is the way I interpret um, conflict. And I use that word on purpose because, again, what I'm trying to tell you is that we create our problems by, first of all, the perception of problem. Once you see it as a problem, then it is a problem. And your approach and every point of action that you take is sort of highlighting the problem. So when I realized immediately that I don't want to repeat this dynamic, and I had to then be faced once again with the practice of surrender. And I cannot tell you the miraculous experience of what surrender is. And I don't know if I'll be able to articulate it in words. And I'm not sure if that's where I'm supposed to be, but I just want to share this with you. In order to break habits or to improve, you have to surrender. You have to surrender because the projection of what you're experiencing is not coming at you, it's coming from you. And it's like, it's like being draped. It's like a clothing. You knitted it. And you don't like the way it fits, and you're wrestling in it, but it's like you're wrestling with your own creation. And to surrender means that you totally want to remove yourself from that. You can't try to keep, if it itches, if it doesn't, you don't like it, whatever it is, then just take it off. But no, the thing is, and this is all happening not consciously, but we're attached to it because, you made it, but you don't know that you made it, but it's the truth. And so just think of it this moment, it's like you think you made this thing, you had this idea, you wanted things to go this way, like this is this article of clothing that you knitted, and it's not going that way. So instead of, saying, okay, I can start over again, I'll just release that. Maybe it'll fit somebody else, or just get rid of it and I'll make another one. But no, I don't want to make another one because I spent so much time in this. And see, there's that attachment, that ego attachment. Not everything that we create or conceive will be perfect for us. Not every idea that you receive is perfect for you or was meant for you. You might just be the facilitator of the idea. You might be meant to pass it to someone else. You were just acting as the channel for it. But we create everything, the good and the bad. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of pushback about that. And a lot of people are gonna feel, you know, all kinds of ways about that. But you create the seed of the experience that unfolds by holding on to a seed thought like unworthiness, right? Um, some of us, and I know as a gay man and some of the things I've been through as a Black person, I mean, there is this feeling that you're not worthy of love. And so that seed thought can create, I mean, it becomes like the seed thought becomes like the yarn. And the yarn might be these colors or feelings or textures that are itchy and uncomfortable and painful or whatever, versus if you're coming from a state of seed thought of worth, then the yarn is to your liking, just be simplify it, right? I'm not saying you created the effects, but I'm saying you created the cause. That's the best explanation I've ever received or heard, ever. Because we all understand that cause and effect, from the moment of the cause to the time and of the outcome of the effect, things wind and move around and things get attracted, and then boom, we have this experience, right? And so it's in this regard that I'm saying you created it. You didn't create the details of the effect. You had no idea, you don't see it, just like you can't see the effect of the positive things. And we try to take credit of that fully when, in truth, a village participated in that, either physically with your knowing or energetically without your ability to see it. But the point is, if you are in a life, if you're wearing a life of your creation from that seed thought that you're wrestling with and it's creating pain. And the old method, the old paradigm of fear is to wrestle with it, to try to control it, to manipulate circumstances until you get the effect you want. And you'll see that it won't work. And I experienced that a year ago I was telling you about this roommate situation that I had. I tried everything. Person wouldn't leave. I tried everything. And it was surrender. The first time I was really taught surrender by the angels in that situation. And this time it was me. So the first time it was a projection of my whatever seed thought that created that. And this time it was closer to home. It wasn't a projection, at least from our perception, right? This was clearly, I could choose to react to these people the same way. I could choose to react because of the things that I feel about myself to the situation the same way. I could choose to project what I think about these people. And I decided none of this was going to be useful to me. And I let it go. And it was a struggle because when you try to let it go, tentacles of the thread, or almost like, you know, um, how sometimes material is like little lint sticks to you, right? And so I went into connection with my higher self, or my I am presence, or as Diana Cooper talks about in her book, The Golden Future, the angelic mother, father, light, which is your I am presence. And what she says some people have believed was God was actually this. I like to think of source, or the origin, um, as something much vaster than that, but that's another discussion for another time. But leaving it there and really asking for that support and love, asking for what I needed to heal that seed thought of emotions and fear. And then faith that if I listen to the wisdom of my inner being, or my I am presence, and then in faith give it over, knowing that it's going to work out, because I'm now recognizing that I am not an entity unto myself, that I'm a part of a universal village, oneness itself, which orchestrates. When we put out our prayers and our intentions, they will orchestrate it. And my role was to stay out of it, to turn off those manipulative thoughts of trying to control, trying to think of a way to push things in a direction that I want them to go in. And when I did this beautifully, I felt for the first time a sense of real peace and freedom and safety. And the next day, because usually I would have reached out to so many people, but I didn't. The next day, I waited and waited, and I noticed other things happen. So I'm like doing a roommate search, a new roommate search, and then all of a sudden, all the right people were, writing to me, so many things that I was focused, that I knew that were a situation I needed to sort of face, right, with courage and with faith and love and thanks, gratitude. All of that stuff started to happen, to flourish together. And then I got a nice letter, you know, um, saying that everything was clear, all the records were straight, etc. And it was just a rewarding experience, because for the first time I realized that my reactions, my interpretations, instigate an entire reality that is totally unpleasant, to say the least. And as we're talking about our ascension path and all of these sort of astrological energies and the spiritual events that are occurring, our work, well, that work is facilitating our ability to stand clearly in our power and to reclaim it in this way. And I might want to label this a tool, but it might be that others, you discover many other tools and it may have a different name, but maybe it's a similar process. But I would invite you to really consider the process of surrender and handing over to your angels through your prayer, God, whatever, whoever it is, to hand it over, knowing that there won't be any hesitation to answer you, to give you what you need, to hand it over in faith, knowing that there will be no such thing as a failure. Trusting that whatever outcome that you need to face, that it is not the end of the world if it appears in our logic as a failure or disappointment. But that moment is a preparation for something much greater. This is the plan of peace. You know, I love that one of those scriptures from Jeremiah says, I know the plans I have for you. There are plans of peace, not war, so that you may have a hope and a future. So the idea here is that that's the promise. There is no other agenda that the universe has. And any agendas that we in our three-dimensional mind can come up with can never be used in any other way but the ultimate agenda of the universe. So if somebody, their existence challenges you, or situations challenge you, that is a stepping stone. It is a preparation moment that something better is available to you. And you have to heal that seed thought that's creating this illusion around you of delays, of absence, of loss, of impermanence, of unworthiness. So the universe takes whatever, because I know there are people who believe in evil, so you can do that. But the universe takes whatever someone does that's not intended for good to make you stronger. But it's your interpretation that's going to save you the most. When you realize that you have the power, because you can choose the interpretation. That's what you're already doing. And if you choose to look at it with love and understanding, if you choose to see the way that the universe is trying to help you overcome a personal conflict that you perpetuate through your interpretation, so that when you do face it, confront it head on, that you are setting yourself free from that impulse. And then you can build upon that. Because now, after yesterday, anything else that comes up, I'm going to have this as a visceral, experience and component of my being. It feels like there's a lion inside, like a better analogy, that will no longer just give in to that way, to that perception of problem. And so I was saying before, and I've said it many times, you do not get to a solution because you kept at the problem, a breakthrough happens. And that breakthrough is a moment of surrender. You stop, even for a split second, focusing on the problem long enough for a solution to come in. The solution to come in or to arise from within you, because you are wisdom. And this stuff of problem is sort of more like mist just floating through your atmosphere only because you give your attention to it, or you create a seed thought that attracts that distortion moving through your oneness, wholeness, harmony, harmonious, peaceful existence or essence, divine essence. So, when it seems like it's the end of the world, surrender. Allow, give it over with faith. Really pray directly and trust that you will face whatever will come. The thing was so interesting was the only problem that I was going to receive was some 50 or whatever the late fee would have been. And I was going to make that such a thing because I didn't want to lose the money, or I just don't want to lose at all, lose the argument. I'm right and you're wrong. Whatever. And I let all of that go. And if it was going to happen, it was going to happen. But there was going to be a way to deal with the problem. I just didn't have to be forced in that day to throw my whole world off. And you get where I'm going. We all do it. So think about this process, because this is our work. When each and every one of us surrenders and realigns with peace, this powerfully impacts your communities and the entire world, the entire collective consciousness, instantaneously in that moment. This is the way that the world becomes peace on earth. This is the way that we fulfill the mission of our planet. Peace on earth. All right, let's take a look at the archangel that we're working with this week. And it's the Archangel Raguel. And so he holds those scales there of balance and harmony. So it says, be fair in all situations, resolve your conflicts. Now, this is letting us know that in this week, things that the angels are aware of your needs. And in order for them to help you appropriately, you need to be aware of your needs and in regards to what is appropriate for you, what is the balance that is needed to give this any situation, to put it in its right perspective for you. So this balance, this fairness, is something that you got to realize is first an interpretation, one that's coming from your three-dimensional sort of framework versus coming from the higher self's understanding that all that unfolds is preparing not just you, but the collective for its journey back to oneness. And then it says, resolve your conflicts. And this is giving me a sense that we can do so, just in the way that I was prepared the other day to because the conflicts are the effects. The true conflict is the one that starts within, based on certain seed thoughts. And I'm sure there's not a million seed thoughts in there. Seed thoughts are just what they are. You know, they're the seed of so many things. But if you face that, you resolve that conflict, you will resolve all your conflicts around you. They will no longer be framed by you as one. And you will know, because you will have received the understanding and the awareness, and you'll feel so much gratitude and appreciation as I did, because now I realize that how I can, my awareness can shift, and how I can continue to create healing for myself within. Let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. Now, these cards were laid down in reverse, so I feel energy guiding my hands, like I can feel it moving my hands. So they were laid down in reverse. This has been happening recently, so they're every other week or something. So I'm not quite sure what it means, but I'm gonna think of it as a reverse energy. So that means for me, sort of like retrograde, is sort of, we need to um, pay more attention, but it's more internal, our focus, rather than external as the focus. Is one way to look at it. All right. So we have the 10 of Swords. And this is a card that creates a sort of a general alarm. So I've been talking about sort of alarming energy. But it's a sword, so it's about the thought process. It's, our thoughts are powerful, and it's demonstrated to us by sort of like the thing I just described to you that happened to me the other day, and so many others that we all are aware of. We think when a crisis in our head is like, oh, this is the end of the world. And many of them are nowhere near that, but it's just how we think. We've sort of been conditioned to think a certain way. And this kind of thinking is ruinous. It leads to debilitations in so many facets of our lives. And so we want to really, it seems like they really want us to really start thinking about our I want to say health, and not only just our physical body, but in terms of the events, all the physical reality. Because the physical reality is a condition, an effect of your mental interpretation. All right, let's take a look. And it's interesting because this is on the day of the beginning of the week where the taxes are due. So don't let your mind, be aware of all the resources that are available to you. Think about, uh, one thing, don't think about doing this on your own. Reach out. When your mind is so against you, this is like your mind is betraying you, right? um, or defeating you. So don't let your mind defeat you. And you can see this rainbow energy. you know think of the spectrum. Expand your range of support or options. Look, or alternatives. Look elsewhere. Things might head in that direction. It might be inevitable, but it's not the end, because tens are about renewal. So sometimes you just need to let it happen and then deal with the consequences, but move forward in a better way. Then we have the Four of Swords. This card has been kind of coming in the background when I pull cards. I usually pull, like on the daily messages, I pull 4 cards, but the first card is the central card of focus, and this has always been somewhere in the background. It's come up in the foreground once as well. So this is a card about, and this to me, total surrender, and just being. And you see the bears, they're hibernating, and you can see it's like this bear spirits are with him, and just sort of allowing the body, allowing the mind to regenerate, to allow recuperation to happen, to go within, to really listen to the soul, all right, and to that your inner wisdom. So it's just sort of like when you know they eat, and then they can hibernate for that long period of time because the the body stores those resources and lives off it while they hibernate. And just like them, your soul has stored wisdom, and it's there for you to um, to utilize. So now you take the time to go in and sort of feast on that wisdom to give you proper perspective and guidance. Okay, and then we have the Hanged One. So a lot of reverse energy here, but all of this energy is really telling you that you need to slow down in this week, like take step back before you lunge forward. Don't react to fear. Do not let fear be your guidance, because it's going to be sloppy, it's going to get messier, right? Don't let fear, like, when I got that letter, it was sort of like the 10th is the deadline, the last day of the grace period. So the next day I would get the fee. And if I had kept trying to manipulate and not surrender, and then I was guided what to write to them once I got the right information. And then I did it calmly. At first I tried it and it was just not coming out. So I took my time. I didn't let myself be rushed by the deadline energy. Like one of the biggest tools of fear is to use deadlines to manipulate us to in doing things that are not precise or accurate. So don't allow yourself to get, sort of goaded into things that are just not appropriate for you, that are not in balance for you. Don't worry about what somebody else is telling you, just because they might be your boss or whatever. When you do what's in balance for you, then everything automatically, the effect, once you reorient or recalibrate the cause where you're coming from, the effect will be recalibrated. And you have to have faith in this in order for all of us to really inherit a world of peace that already exists around us. It's just that we're in our own worlds and our own minds and our own heads living in a different reality. When we look at nature, it is at peace. Everything that's naturally created is at peace and is living in harmony. We are the only factor that is not doing that. And the destruction that we are experiencing, or the chaos, is between ourselves and ourselves, if you know what I mean. Like you, the individual, and then the world around you. But you cannot fix the world around you until you find peace within yourself. And that practice really, I believe wholeheartedly, begins with surrender, because it's the only way to properly detach and to embrace and accept that you are loved so deeply that no harm would truly come to you if you held that belief unwaveringly. All right, so take the card I already pulled from the bottom of the deck, and it's the Princess of Swords. Or sorry, the Prince of Swords. So this is usually typically the knight. And this might seem like, he tends to rush in. But the thing is, he rushes behind what he knows is truth. So this is not saying to just make rash decisions, but it is saying when you resonate with the truth, there allow no hindrance to come up inside of you and cause you to delay your actions or to make the choices or the decisions that are needed and required. So when you align with your truth or what's fair or the wisdom, you will be guided to do and to know with confidence what is the right thing to do. And you will find you'll be rewarded because people, it's sort of an energy when you that confident and you are backing it up with truth, then you become the highest vibration. It was my one of my teachers, Kim Sear, would say, the highest vibration rules. Right? And the highest vibration is clarity and peace, right? And truth. I just saw this angel number and then we're going to close 932. It says, trust that the ascended masters are helping your career and divine life purpose because they are. This is a general message about that you're being helped to trust. That's the key word there. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings. Remember to relax. These two cards here. Relax. Don't let your mind get the best of you. And have faith in what you know. God bless you.